Hey guys, what is up? It's Dusty here, and welcome back to another crypto video. And we're giving away 250 XRP if this video can get to 1500 likes within 24 hours. And all you have to do is make sure you press the like button, make sure you are subscribed, and make sure you comment something down below. And I want to quickly say, I just spent 45 minutes making my most 400 IQ video only to make my laptop or MacBook fall out and the video file being corrupted. If anybody knows how to fix corrupted video files, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to try again right now, which I'm obviously already going to do since you're watching this video, and just try to see if I can get some of the words back that I used, because these videos are never scripted, and so I definitely will not be able to get you guys the quality content I had planned, but it's okay. I had a question for y'all as well. Do you guys like my intro, which it is right now? Like the, hey guys, what is up? Or should I change it up? Let me know in the comment section down below. Having said that, today, I did not want to talk about the whole lawsuit. I did not want to talk about what we usually talk about concerning the XRP price. I wanted to talk about from the ground up why I love the Ripple/XRP fundamentals and why I think a lot of people will get on in as time moves on and why the core values of what they got are really freaking beautiful. Having said that, I wanted to start it off with this article right here. 85 million XRP shifted by Ripple European ODL corridor and other market players. Major crypto trader Bitstamp, BitGo, and several other trading platforms have transferred 85 million XRP tokens in the past 24 hours. And you might think, oh, what's he going to say about this article? Is it juicy? No, honestly, it isn't. There's a really interesting thing that I always talk about whenever I talk about ODL corridors and ODL transfers, and that is that they do not really matter too much for right now. And hear me out. ODL stands for on-demand liquidity, which is basically Ripple's solution that utilizes XRP within RippleNet. And they used to have a ton of volume, which got reduced over time here as they shifted their main focus from huge companies, or maybe just kind of individual companies, but big ones, big transfers, but just from one party, to a completely different side of the spectrum, which is small to medium enterprises mostly, and e-commerce, but just mostly, let's say, small to medium enterprises. I've thought, why would this be? Why could this be? And right now, I came to the conclusion that it's all for the bigger plan of showing, for example, some of these other companies that they're trying to convince potentially that, hey, they can do it all. And a second part would, in my opinion, be to earn goodwill. Because if you're working with some of these bigger guys, but only working with one ton of transfers, you're not really doing much for society, you might say. You're doing much for the upper end, but the people themselves might not really notice that. And by using the small to medium enterprises and helping those and facilitating them with cheaper payments, yeah, I think you really have a very niche market there, which a lot of others would kind of skip because that's not where the money lies, that's where the people lie. And again, Ripple is also very much into the people game. Think about that. Cross-border payments. For the majority of the people, it is a freaking cumbersome process. I don't know anybody who thinks, oh, cross-border payments are good, it doesn't need to be fixed yet. It's been an issue for I don't know how many years, but a freaking ton of time. And there have been multiple solutions possible over these years, yet nobody wants to tackle it because I think, once more, you're hurting the lower percentage of the people. You're hurting the people with or you're basically helping then the people with not a lot of money, but they also don't have much money to give you, and you're basically cutting cost, but you're also cutting profits in that sense, is what a lot of these guys most likely are thinking. And I think Ripple's shift here to helping out the lower tier, basically small to medium enterprises, I consider lower tier, as we basically always hear Ripple being the banker coin, which still is a part of what they do, but now they've kind of combined it. And again, the reason I decided to pop up this article here is because I believe that the literal transfers don't really matter that much, and if we're seeing transfers like this, they don't really say too much either. It doesn't really do anything for me because, well, why would it? If there's a transfer of $13 million, why would this be huge? Why would this be something we should celebrate? I don't really know about that. Once more, I'm here for trillions of dollars eventually per year, or however long you want to call it. I know we're getting there piece by piece. And so a $12 million transfer is, first of all, yeah, it's going to add something, but the other things is really not the thing we're looking for. And on the other end, as we just said before, Ripple most likely has a bigger goal, so really focusing on what goes around is stupid. And then in the end of things, we don't know if this is an ODL transfer just because it's done between ODL corridors. ODL corridors basically stand for different exchanges in different areas with local pairs, for example, which could facilitate the ODL transfer, which would be, for example, Mexican peso on the local exchange or an exchange to XRP, and then on a different exchange, the XRP to US dollar. That could be a transfer with local corridors. You guys get the picture. I don't think this is really huge or really something we should cover though. What we should be covering, what we should be thinking about is, for example, David Schwartz's quote, which was XRP-L, which is the XRP ledger, was purpose-built for transacting both in a native neutral asset, XRP, and also in issued assets to bridge the CBDCs, stablecoins, other payments, networks, and other kinds of assets. Partially a lie, honestly speaking. Once more, this is just my opinion on this matter. This is not a fact. I believe that it was mostly built for the sake of just building, and then later on they found some use cases and found some extra pieces in which they could make it better and could make it or give it its own swing and its own use case. I don't believe it was purpose built for CBDCs, for example. Right? I believe that was later on. But I guess you can also, it will depend on how you read this. You could also say, no, it was purpose built for transacting in native and neutral assets, and then the rest of this part is not what the purpose built, but all right. Point being, he has a good point. CBDCs is eventually the biggest part of what Ripple is going to be doing. We saw the private ledger connection between Ripple and the CBDCs. We saw the Bank of France, I believe, let go a statement of what they're building. And we know Deloitte here, for example, has a whole freaking overview of what countries are working on it right now and what type of parts they're working on. For example, here you can see it a little bit. However, this is also just a small part of the story because, first of all, things have changed quite drastically ever since this was built. And second of all, this is also what they're showing you. Yet a lot of these guys actually had no real plan or no finished plan into what they would allow, what they would build with it. And I know for a fact that 99% of you watching this video don't even know how you would use a CBDC or what exactly it's going to do for you or how it's going to change your life. And I've never read a document like this. I'm 100% sure that at least 85% of you guys do not know, but I'm betting that 99% of you have never read a document about CBDCs and don't actually know what they do. CBDCs are central bank digital currencies, and the thing is, guys, they are extremely vague because every country and every major, now let's call it bank for right now, will issue it differently and will have tiny adjustments, tiny different ideas, tiny different ideologies, and different use cases, as every country or every central bank has a different view on how it should be made. And there's also still a lot of options open and a lot of exploring that they're doing. Hence, Ripple's already connection to build CBDCs is not final, I would say. There's always been talks, but that's also one thing I should also note once more. Ripple has most likely been in talks with almost all of these freaking platforms, which you'll find here, almost all of them. However, we're just not seeing the fruits because they're still trying things out. They're still working things out. A good example of this is FedNow, for example. We saw a ton of Ripple partners work with them. We saw a ton of, mutual connections, yet still nothing conclusive has come out. Why? Well, because they're thinking. They're trying, they're thinking, they're philosophizing, or whatever the frick you want to call it. Yet there's no end result. And with this case here as well, CBDCs are going to be rolling out as the years come by. It's not an instant thing. And I believe Ripple has already thought about that. And also knows that it's going to take a couple of years for it to all roll through. And of course, they had to prepare themselves for it as well. Because why would Ripple be used out of all of these other platforms? Why Ripple? And that's again where I think that their whole plan came in of preparing with the Ripple net for the SMEs and preparing it with all these announcements and yada yada and the footprint. What's it called now? The greenhouse footprint or whatever, the carbon emissions footprint, all that type of stuff. I really think they did all of that, a lot of the attention, a lot of the media, purely to get on the radars. And then once they were on there, they decided to really hammer heavily on cross-border payments, which, by the way, is just one of their verticals. They've explained they want to be like Amazon with a ton of different ventures as time moves on. I believe the cross-border on a retail level and an SME level is the first part they wanted to try. They know it can work now, but it's the lower tier things. They use that to bridge themselves up, pun intended with bridge, to becoming the ultimate CBDC bridge, which I think is their goal for right now. And that is going to most likely be used to actually get another bigger goal going on. And even though you're going to say, which I agree with, that they're going to continue on with the remittances all the way through. Yes, there's a ton of money in there, and I think they'll take a lot of it over. For example, they've been putting a lot of emphasis on the Asia-Pacific region recently. We saw them hire a lot of people over there. We all know it. We talked about it, which is one of the biggest areas to grow in terms of digital remittances. We all know it. We know that they're smart with that. We know they are working on that. So I don't think there's any question in that sense at all to me. However, yeah, what is their main purpose? Well, if it were to be only CBDCs as just an example, would I be bullish on XRP then? Well, of course, because we're talking about XRP being the official bridge between CBDCs. And do I believe that Ripple will put more focus on XRP rather than their own technologies? Yes. Why? Because they decided to build that private ledger. You might think, but Dusty, that's bad for XRP because it doesn't use XRP. Yes, that's true. However, because they could be utilizing their private ledger for example, building some of these CBDCs, or anything else, basically, they have more room to utilize XRP freely rather than other parts of RippleNet. Other parts of it, right? Because they already have the private ledger now too, which gives them more room to grow XRP as, again, you should kind of think about it where you're taking away a lot of the other important options that you had. Now you're building something new, yet only one of your older options is still really relevant, which in this case is XRP, together with the new private ledger for CBDCs. I'm just thinking it can all add up perfectly and nicely, and in the future they'll just keep using XRP more, as they've also been putting more emphasis on getting the percentage up, and we know the numbers. We know a couple $billion worth of transfers being done. We know everything. You can find it online if you want to. It's not really relevant though. A couple of questions that I have and which will be answered as time moves on is, what is their exact plan? Will anything regarding their plan change if they win this lawsuit? And really, how much of a role will XRP play in all of this? The way we're looking at it right now, XRP is going to be the most amazing crypto in comparison to almost any of them because of this use case for being the bridge between CBDCs, being the bridge between cross-border remittances, or basically being the cross-border remittance currency, which once more is only going to keep growing. And I believe not that many others are trying to tackle this as hard as Ripple is because, well, I'm not hearing too much about them, and the whole issue is still there, been there for a long time. So yeah, you can kind of call it two flies in one freaking clap. And no, I think that's actually it. We just need to see how much of a role will they play in all of this. What percentage will they take up? What are the real competitors? Who are the real competitors? Especially on the CBDC front, I don't really know any other guys who are doing it better. But that's also maybe my own ignorance, because even though I've read some of these papers, I know there's been so many different ways they would like to issue them that I never know for certain if XRP is going to be the ultimate bridge of everything, or if as time moves on, they'll research something else and actually decide to stay away from it. And Ripple will just be in there as kind of an overseer. Oh no, is that the right word? As kind of an overviewer, I don't know, a manager, to explain exactly what they could be doing. However, think about it. If they're talking Ripple with all of these parties, which they are, don't you think as well that they will recommend themselves and recommend XRP? I think so. In the end, I think it will get there so hard, and people are underestimating that, especially if they win this lawsuit, guys. I just personally, once more, think they're going to really hammer it on, and there's just so much room to grow. And if you think about Bitcoin and Ethereum on the real life use case, Ethereum, of course, has the smart contracts, and Ethereum just has the platformer for itself, so a lot of things can be built on there. Yep. But it would never be used for transactions like this. It would never be something which people will use day to day, or these big guys will use day to day, except once more with Ethereum, where people make the smart contracts on there. It's a little bit of a different situation, though. With Bitcoin, however, it's a good example. There's really nothing there which people should be using every single day. It's just a nice store of value. But even Ethereum, it's really a different sort of crypto. Unless people want to use a public blockchain to build all these things on, but they mostly will not. They'll mostly use the private ledgers anyway. Like, for example, Ripple has built right now, the private blockchain. That's what they're going to be using, for example, for these CBDCs. So, yeah, which one really has the most amount of potential on the big businesses? It's still XRP. Even though, kind of from the shadow, they used a really SME type of approach, which I still think is kind of hilarious, because I believe it's all in their end goal of things. They, of course, are a multi-billion-dollar company. They got some strategy guys in there. I just think it's a good plan, but I think they'll fix themselves. Regardless of that, let's see. Bitcoin was dumping like crazy earlier today. You guys all saw it. You guys were laughing at me. Pretty interesting how we were talking about this dump right here in the video. I changed the title a little bit later from "Will Bitcoin Bounce Here" to 10 times XRP opportunity, blah, blah, blah. That's because I thought maybe more people would click it that way. You guys all saw the original title, though, until the live stream was over. Because while we were discussing at first whether or not this is going to be a reversal point for Bitcoin, it was pretty funny enough. It was actually the perfect reversal point for Bitcoin as of that point. Because it just kept going down from that point on forward at a minimum of about 10% or so, at minimum. And then I wanted to make a video right here again, because of the RSI specifically. However, you guys know how I do. I start recording at about, 10 a.m. in the freaking morning. I start putting all my things together. And then it's, really middle of the night before I actually get done with my stuff. And this video, I'm going to have to do some editing as well. I'm going to try see if I can still get some of the previous parts of footage back into it. I'm not quite sure if I can. or not, but you're seeing the time right now, all right? And by the time I'm going to upload this, it's most likely freaking 3 a.m. already. Oh, it's going to be a hassle, but all right. Give you guys a little overview of what's been happening. The freaking fear, man. Honestly, it's the fear that's been brought into people's minds that's really ruining the crypto space right now. People have gotten so fearful, it's crazy. Even though, in my opinion, it shouldn't be there because of all the good things happening. For example, Fidelity and Goldman Sachs file for Bitcoin ETFs with the SEC. Don't you also agree with me here that these guys are just getting started? These bigger guys are just getting started. And all these articles being written about, if it will fall hard. Okay, that's all funny. Yet, it's still not the real situation, I should say. Bitcoin, you're buying obsolescence, what the freak, and the fall will be hard. I disagree. I really, really firmly disagree. There are multiple benefits to governments from a central bank digital currency in managing monetary blah, 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 blah. Governments already, okay? They're basically once more saying that CBDCs are going to be the main focus and crypto is mostly going to be shown the door, which they will not like anymore. But then again, that's a positive thing for XRP if you think about it. So it wouldn't necessarily be bad for all crypto. Microsoft waffling over Bitcoin. BTC's return to Xbox unlikely to spur adoption. Yet, once more, think about it. They are adding left, right. Tesla just added. It is just the start of something really bigger, though. Skrill Wallet by PaySafe partners with Coinbase explains offering to the US. Once more options to get your money into crypto or get it out, but mostly into it. Bitcoin is a storehold of wealth amidst plenty of liquidity and ridiculously low interest rates, says Ray Dalio. He's also been all over the place. I don't really know how to read him too much. He said a lot of different things, but that's mostly because when he does these interviews, well, you can just grab parts of it and get a whole different narrative. So let's keep this one with a grain of salt. Government outlawing Bitcoin is a good probability is also something that he said, just like gold for forex controls, and because they don't want other monies to be operating or competing. Warren's Bridgewater Associates founder. Bitcoin plunges $100 billion in one day. Here's how long the bloodbath could last. Honestly, these guys do not know either, so don't think they have the magic freaking number. And Bitcoin falls to 2-week lows as $6 billion worth of options is to expire. I have talked about that briefly on 5-Minute Crypto. Hopefully you guys all saw it. I still don't think that these options actually matter for the price. Some people say they do, but I believe it is all fear. It is all fear. It is all fear. Options themselves, they don't really do too much as they already expire earlier most of the time, or at least they can already redeem them earlier. And yeah, it's never really been proven that these options actually do have a negative effect on crypto yet. Maybe because people have put such a huge emphasis on it this time, as the amount of money, of course, also keeps increasing. The first time we were really excited about $200 million worth of options. Eventually, all of a sudden, it was a record $1 billion and a record $2 billion. Now it's a record $6 billion. And that will mostly keep continuing on as well. So maybe in due time here, the amount of money that's expiring will actually have an effect. I'm not quite sure. But in the past, it has not had an effect. So I'm not too sure about that. Then a side note, go check out GSX, world's first growth coin. Really interesting concept. I have a couple $1,000s in it. There's a couple days worth of still going on. And right now it is 10 cents a coin, plus a 5% bonus, plus a 5% bonus for using my link. And once more, it is a gold batch crypto. I think it is really interesting. And I'm hoping to 20x my money, maybe 25, maybe 30x. Once more, I'm not certain we can lose it all, but I'm hoping for it. And then once more, that's why I have a couple $1,000s in it. Thank you guys all for watching. See you guys again in another one. And it wasn't 45 minutes or whatever the freaking first video was, but we have a solid 18-minute banger. Showing a little bit of my thoughts, showing a little bit of, what I've been thinking about. It is mostly that XRP is going to be taking over such a huge amount of volume in due time. Maybe I didn't even make it clear right now. I think trillions of dollars will be coming to XRP, or through XRP, I should say. Trillions of dollars will be going through Ripple. It's just a matter of time before they arrange their stuff. But they have plans. They have bigger goals. They've been working with regulators for so long. They've been working with all the freaking banks. They've been working with everybody for so long already. They have a plan. They have a very big plan. And I think this realm is only going to be getting bigger. So Ripple's only going to continue growing. And if I could, man, I would invest a lot of money into Ripple because I know this company would just keep pulling through and keep getting crazier. Just hoping that they eventually will go public. Also, another fun fact, right? A little fun fact for all you guys that watched the video to the end. Ripple, they knew the threat of the SEC suing them was there for years because I talked about it in 2017 too. Yet somewhere in 2020, I believe, Brent Gunghouse said we are planning to go public within 2 years. Might that be because they know the exchange will be the SEC's case will be over? They've won and they have a very good future ahead of themselves, and they know they could go public then, or what? Or was he mistaken? Let me know in the comments down below what you think. See you guys again in another crypto video. That was it for today.